All right, guys, we're at the track this morning doing a threshold workout, and I made this lovely Venn diagram for us for endurance running. Let me explain. So these are the 4 pillars of endurance running. Starting here, we have VO2 max, also known as aerobic capacity. This is just our body's ability to utilize oxygen when running. Over here, we have lactate threshold. This is a little bit more muscular based. This is our body's ability to clear out lactic acid when we're working hard. So the higher the lactate threshold, the harder we can push. Over here, we have running economy. This is essentially how efficient our body is when running. This is a little bit more like biomechanic based, so our stride, our cadence, even external things like shoes can affect our running economy. And lastly, we have mental toughness. This is one of the most important pieces of endurance running, because without mental toughness, you can't get through any of these other things. So what's your grit like? What's your belief in yourself like? Are you able to push through a hard workout, even though you have all these factors covered? So today we're gonna be doing a lactate threshold workout. We're gonna be doing 8 times 1 kilometer. So obviously the main goal of this workout is to be increasing our lactate threshold. Although the reason this is a Venn diagram is because all of these kind of overlap in some way. So although the focus of today's workout is lactate threshold, we're still gonna be hitting our aerobic capacity, our VO2. We're gonna be working on running economy, we're gonna be running hard, and always working on mental toughness because we're gonna be pushing through difficult intervals. So this is the way I like to think about endurance running as a whole, from kind of more of a science perspective. Focus on each one of these. Every workout we're gonna talk about in this video touches on one of these specifically. And when you put all that together, you can run faster for longer. So 8 times a kilometer today here on the track. Let's dive into it. Today we are going with the brand new Brooks Hyperion Elite 5. These things are so sick. Look at this. This is my favorite part of the shoe. This little squishy part right here. Brooks absolutely crushed with these. The colors are sick. The foam is super soft, very squishy. I can tell they're gonna be bouncy. They got a carbon plate in here. They updated the grip on the bottom here. The bottoms look sweet. So first time wearing these today on the track. These literally just came out. So very excited to wear these. I'll let you guys know what I think throughout the workout, but I ran Boston in the Hyperion Elite 4s, so big fan of the Hyperion Elites in general, so these are a really nice update. Really pumped to try these out today. So today's workout is gonna be 1 mile easy warm-up, 8 times 1 kilometer at threshold effort with a 1 minute 30-second standing rest, and then a 1 mile easy cool down. The reason why we're doing 8 times 1K at threshold, like I mentioned, threshold is one of the key components of running fitness, endurance running. So we're gonna be working on threshold today. Specifically, 1K repeats, I think, are one of the best distances to work threshold. So for me, these reps are gonna take about 3.5 minutes. And when you're working threshold, the key is kind of that like 3 to 5 minute range if you're doing intervals. So we're gonna be pushing really hard for about 3.5 minutes or so, resting for about 1.5 minutes. So that 2 to 1 roughly work to rest ratio. So another great workout or distance is 800 meter repeats. 1K repeats I think are one of the best ones though. So I do a lot of 1K repeats, and it's really less about the distance and more about the time. So if 800 meters takes you about 3.5 minutes at your threshold effort, do 800 meters. Our bodies don't fully understand distances. They don't know what a meter is or a mile, but they know time. They know time under tension, time under work. So focusing on time today, you could also say, is about 8 times 3.5 minutes of work. So that's the goal for today. It's gonna be a tough workout. Threshold effort, what does that mean? I'm really more concerned about effort over pace today. Again, our bodies don't really know what pace means, but they know effort. So threshold effort is gonna be that sweet spot where we can get out maybe 2 to 3 words at a time, maybe not quite a full, entire long sentence.
Give us 2 words right now, Jeremy.
This sucks. Aiming for that spot where I can literally ask myself, can I still say a few words? Or can I say a sentence? And that's gonna help us kind of gauge that effort. So that's the sweet spot today. I don't know if you guys remember from last week when we were on the treadmill doing an incline workout with the vest, and I said that was harder than running on the track at 5:30 pace. I stand by that. I think the incline workouts with that vest make these workouts feel so much easier. Like I was definitely pushing, but not that hard really. It felt like pretty controlled, very comfortable. And all I was thinking about was like, at least I'm not on the treadmill at 15% incline with a weighted vest. Rep number 1 done, 334. So we'll keep building from there.
I'm just looking for a real good time. I'm just looking for
Maybe a little fast on that one. 321. Felt good though. Trying to maintain that. All right, 4 reps done. We went 321, 321, 320 for the last one. So,
All right.
let's hope we can maintain this. I can feel the heat building, compounding a little bit, but already halfway through the workout. Everything from here will be easier. Ah, 5 reps done. Hit 320 again. I think this is the fastest 1K repeats I've ever done. Must be the shoes. I don't know. Maybe it's the shoes.
You got 2 more?
2 more. 318 on that one. Body's feeling good. Trying to not push too hard, but sometimes it feels good. You gotta just give it that little extra oomph. I'm so glad that's over with. Brutal workout. Just hot, steamy, sweaty, humid. But we're done. We're better for it. Built our lactate threshold. Definitely built the mental toughness. God dang. That's for sure the fastest 1K workout I've ever done. Average, I think, like 320 or so per rep. So I'm pleased with it, especially with how warm it is out here. Track workout complete. The last point I want to make when it comes to threshold workouts is right now I'm training for Crazy Mountain 100. This will be my second 100-mile race. We're about 1 month out. And any of you guys watching, if you're training for an ultra 100-mile race, do not neglect your speed workouts. Don't neglect your threshold training. When it comes to 100-mile races, obviously you're never gonna touch that threshold during the race, but you're just building this big aerobic engine. You're building your giant pyramid of fitness, and the more fit you get, the easier everything's gonna feel relative to those really hard workouts. So if you're training for an ultra 100-mile race, don't neglect your strength training, or don't neglect strength training or your speed workouts. Now that we're about 5 weeks out from Crazy Mountain 100, Bree, myself, and our pups are gonna drive up to the mountains, get some mountain training in, visit some family. So we'll be in Wyoming, Montana, British Columbia for the next 5 weeks until our 100-mile race. So this video, we're gonna be traveling up there, so you guys get to come with us for that. Very excited, we've got a big long run in the mountains planned for later in this week that we'll take you guys along with. So, but for now, I'll see you guys back at the house where I'm gonna explain a couple different types of workouts to help you run faster for longer. No matter what running distance you're training for, whether it's the mile, the 5K, the marathon, the 100-mile ultra marathon, there are really 5 types of running specific workouts that you can incorporate into your routine to help build fitness. Now, obviously, depending on whichever distance you're currently training for, that's going to determine which amounts of each of these 5 workouts you're going to incorporate. So obviously a mile race is going to require very different training from a 100-mile race. So I'm going to go through each of these 5 different types of workouts, give you a couple examples of each one, the benefits, and hopefully you can incorporate these into a running routine for whichever distance you're training for. The first and most common type of running workout is easy runs or zone 2 runs. Easy runs are the foundation and the base of any good running program. Roughly 70 to 80% of all of your miles should be ran at your easy effort or zone 2 effort. And note that I said effort and not pace. Nobody really has a true easy pace because our paces are going to change every single day. There's so many variables that affect that. Rather, you should be focused more on how you feel for the day and the feedback that your body is giving you. One good way to do that is by going off of conversation. How conversational can you be? Can you speak like this? Can you get out an entire sentence without having to catch your breath? If you can't, you're probably running a little bit too hard. You can also use your heart rate. Staying in zone 2 generally keeps you in that good, easy effort. One way to measure that is 180 minus your age. This is called the Maffetone method. So for me, 180 minus 27 is 153. That's a rough estimate of my max heart rate to keep me in that zone 2 or easy effort. You can also go off of about 70 to 80% of your max heart rate, and that'll kind of put you in the proper range for zone 2 or easy runs. The second, and what I think is one of the most important types of running workouts, are threshold workouts. The main purpose of threshold workouts is to increase our lactate threshold. When we're pushing really hard during a workout, our bodies are using lactic acid as fuel. It's a byproduct of work. However, there comes a point when our bodies can no longer efficiently use the lactic acid that's being produced, and it starts to build up in our muscles, and that's where you get that kind of brick feeling in our legs, and we'll essentially bonk or hit the wall because there's just too much lactic acid and our bodies don't know what to do with it. They can't clear it out or use it efficiently enough. So how do we improve this? We run beyond that lactate threshold or right at that line for intervals or sustained periods, and we teach our bodies how to efficiently use that lactic acid. For most people, you can aim for about 20 all the way up to 60 minutes of threshold work within a single workout session. Some of my favorite threshold workouts include the one you just saw us do in this video, 8 times 1 kilometer. You can also do 2 times 5 kilometers, or if you don't want to worry about distance, you can just do 4 times 5 minutes. And you're running all of those at your threshold effort. Again, threshold effort, not threshold pace. So many different variables can affect what our pace is on a day-to-day basis, so focus on effort. When it comes to threshold effort, the way I like to put it is, can I still say a few words? And that's, how many words is that? Can I still say a few words? 7 words. If I can get out that really quick sentence without having to catch my breath, that means I'm still running around that threshold effort. You don't want to go too far beyond that where you can't speak at all, or if you're only able to say 1 or 2 words, you're probably pushing a little bit too hard, but you want to be able to say, can I still say a sentence? And if you can, you're in the sweet spot. When it comes to rest periods for these threshold workouts, you can either do about 60 to 90 second walking rests or standing rests, or you can do about 2 to 3 minute jogging rests. Either one is totally fine, but just make sure you're staying true to your rest periods and not cheating those, because it's crucial to teach your body to build that lactic acid up, clear it out, and return back to the workout. The third type of running workout, and the one that I think is maybe the most underrated, is zone 3 workouts. Zone 3, oftentimes called the gray zone, was once believed to be kind of no man's land in terms of heart rate training or running effort, because you're running harder than your easy pace, but not quite threshold. Most people thought that you weren't really going to get anything out of that workout. However, that is starting to shift, and people are starting to understand that zone 3 can sometimes be even more beneficial than zone 2 runs. I don't usually recommend zone 3 workouts for beginner runners just because you don't quite have a feel for that effort yet, and it's really easy to overdo it. Because you are running harder than your easy efforts, it's very easy to overtrain, overwork your body, and not be able to recover fast enough. So I usually only recommend zone 3 to more experienced runners, people who can handle a little bit higher effort or a little bit more load. However, you do get a little bit more bang for your buck training in zone 3 as opposed to zone 2 because your heart rate's a little bit higher, your body's pushing just a little bit more, you have higher turnover, higher cadence in your legs, and you can build a ton of mental fitness here because you're pushing at that really uncomfortable pace like you would for a half marathon or a marathon. When it comes to zone 2, I would recommend doing about 45 to 60 minutes at a steady state session, and you can incorporate that into your routine about 1 to 2 times a week. Again, if you're a beginner runner, I wouldn't even consider zone 3. Wait until you're a little bit more intermediate or advanced. The fourth and one of my personal favorite types of running workouts is the long run. The long run, I would say, is any run over 90 minutes. And this is an excellent time to practice your fueling, your hydration, your mental toughness, and just getting used to being out there for a long time. For most people running a half marathon or marathon, your long runs are gonna be about 2 to 3 hours once a week. And if you're training for an ultra or a 100-mile race, your long runs can be anywhere from 3 up to 8 hours, and you'll probably be doing a couple of these each week, typically back to back. As far as we know, there's not a lot of benefits from a physical standpoint of running your long run over 3 hours. However, if you're training for an ultra or a 100-mile race, then you obviously need to practice nutrition, being out on your feet for an extended period of time. But again, from a physical standpoint, standpoint, you're not gonna get much more aerobically out of the workout beyond 3 hours. So for most people watching this, if you're running a half marathon or marathon, you can plan to cap your long runs at about 3 hours. There's also a ton of benefits of incorporating threshold intervals into your long run. I like to call these marathon workouts. Some of my favorite marathon workouts would be 2 miles easy, and then 5 times 3 miles at your marathon pace with a 1 mile recovery jog in between each 3 mile set. Another one of my favorites would be 10 miles easy and then 6 to 8 miles at your marathon pace. These workouts are brutal, but they are truly some of my favorite and really get you ready for what that race day feeling is gonna be like during your half or full marathon. And you can also incorporate things like this into your ultra or 100-mile training by just simply upping the intensity a little bit throughout your run. And the fifth and final type of running workout is what I like to call neuromuscular work. These consist of either hill sprints or strides, but basically they are very short, very intense bursts of speed that are gonna help your nervous system and get your body used to turning your legs over really, really fast, which is also gonna help your running economy, help with your biomechanics, focusing on good form, and building that power and cadence in your legs. So what I personally like to do is to sprinkle them throughout an easy run or stack them at the end of an easy run, but I'll typically do 4 to 8 strides or hill sprints and anywhere from 20 to 60 seconds at a time. So if I'm doing hill sprints, let's just say I'll run my 6 mile easy run just like normal, and then I will do 6 times 30-second hill sprints at pretty much all out effort, and then I'll rest for about 60 to 90 seconds or until I just feel ready to hit that next hill sprint again. You can do the same thing with strides if you don't have hills near you, but I think that these are such a small but very, very important and very beneficial part of any running routine.
Where do you want to go?
Casper, Wyoming.
Getting directions to Casper.
We are in beautiful Casper, Wyoming with Blueby and my mom. We're up here on the mountain. I'm gonna do about 5 or 6 miles with the dogs. These two are gonna hike, but we just drove 18 hours up here yesterday from Austin, Texas. And it was a long, brutal road trip. A lot of dog farts in the car, but we made it. Now we're here and they're already soaking wet. These are some of my favorite trails in the whole world. It's beautiful up here. How you doing, bud? I kick myself every single time I come out here and run these trails because growing up here in Wyoming, for the first 20 years of my life, I literally didn't even know these trails existed, never came up here, and it's literally a 15-minute drive from our house. Just never utilized them. Wasn't into outdoor stuff, but you know, fortunately now we're out here enjoying them, and there's like never anybody here. Basically have the entire trail to ourselves. The dogs can be off leash, run around, explore. Just so beautiful. Just nice, smooth, rolling single track. The goal for today's run is gonna be about 60, maybe 90 minutes easy. Obviously the thing with trails is there's lots of ups and downs, twists and turns, some technical parts, so it's a little bit harder to keep your effort steady. So that's why when I'm doing a trail run like this, I really don't look at my watch that much, and I really just monitor my effort. And pace kind of gets thrown out the window because when you're climbing up a big hill, that's gonna be a lot more effort required versus running down a big hill. So try and just keep the effort as flat as possible. Keep it as steady as we can throughout the run. And that's for pretty much all my easy runs. There's just so many things that affect pace that really focusing on effort is the biggest thing. So might walk a little bit today, gonna run some bits of the downhills, but again, just keeping that effort as flat as I can across the board. But the real priority today is to just enjoy this beauty because it is gorgeous out here. We are about 2 hours from Kalispell, Montana, which is right outside of Glacier National Park. And we are finally in what feels like very real Montana mountains. There's also a giant cow behind me. But just getting gas real fast, just a quick pit stop, let the dogs go pee. But this is gorgeous out here. It is also freezing cold. It is 40 degrees out here. Freezing. Well, not quite freezing, but it's very, very cold out here. Beautiful though. This drive has been so epic. Just lakes and rivers, luscious green forests and mountains. So almost done with this drive. The dogs are getting restless, and we'll be at Dan's place here shortly. See you soon. All right, we made it to beautiful Montana. Right now we are in Whitefish at the ski resort here with Noah and our boy Dan. We are doing 3 to 4 hours a day.
Something like that.
3 to 4 hours. This is gonna be my longest run for the week. I did 3 hours on Saturday. Today's Monday, so I guess it's a new week technically. But didn't run yesterday because we were driving. So I'm gonna consider this the long run for the week. Gonna do, what will this be, like 5,000 feet of gain, you said?
Somewhere there, yeah.
Should get about a mile of elevation gain and loss. We're just gonna go up the ski hill, run back down, do a few laps of that. But I've got my trekking poles with me today, gonna test those out a little bit. We're in the full trail pack. I've got 4 bottles total, 2 up here. I've got Switchback in here, Morton drink mix, and then I've got tons of different gels. We've got spring gels, we've got untapped maple syrup, and then we've got Morton Precision Nutrition. So I'm gonna test a bunch of stuff today, just get the stomach used to taking fuel in for several hours. And we're gonna enjoy some mountains out here. So we'll see you out there. Main goal for today is just try and practice that like 100-mile effort, 100-mile pace that we can just sustain all day long, while also testing fuel, nutrition, hydration, all that stuff. So let's do it. All right, Dan, you are training for what?
Crazy Mountain 100.
Crazy Mountain 100.
3rd time's the charm though. For the last couple of years, it's been like this elusive white grizzly bear that I've been unable to complete. And I'm hoping that 3rd time is the charm this year, because if I don't get it done this year, my wife's gonna kill me. She's gonna kill me.
I'm training for Sherpa season. I got 3 young boys, and so got to get them in the hills, get them up mountains, get them down mountains safely. So just being in good enough shape to do whatever gets thrown at me, which is often a lot. So we'll see.
All right, we are climbing up, straight up this ski hill. This is no joke. About 40% grade. We are 0.8 miles in. We've already gained 1,300 feet. Just straight up this ski hill. There is a calf burn that you can only get in mountains like this. You don't get this in Texas. All right, summit and 1.3 miles. 1,900 feet of gain up here. Now for the fun part. We get a rundown. Yep. All right, finished lap 1. That run back down was so epic. Super smooth, perfect grade, single track, very flowy. And now we are on the way back up for lap 2. Going good. Nutrition's going good. We're like almost 2 hours in already. This camera does not show the steepness of this hill. It is so freaking steep. Great workout though. Perfect crazy mountain training. Dan the mountain man, how we feeling?
I can't stop thinking about that climb up Conical Pass at the crazy mountain, which is like the steepest climb up to 10,200 or so. I'm just in my head thinking like, all right, this is trip up Conical.
So this will be your number 3 at Crazy Mountain. If you had to describe Crazy Mountain 100 to somebody, how would you do that?
It's a mixture of unforgivable terrain and some type of like indigenous energy. You know, it's a native land to the Crow people. And so when you're in there, man, like you definitely feel something in your spirit the whole time you're there. And the terrain itself is rocky, bouldery, and the course itself, a lot of it is just following flags and, you know, watching your watch for the GPS file, because there isn't a lot of runnable terrain. A lot of it is really just unforgiving, man, relentless. It's old school mountain running, you know?
Hell yeah.
And it feels good.
On the drive up here from Wyoming yesterday, we drove by the Crazy Mountain Range. Unfortunately, it was all socked in with clouds, but you could kind of get a little idea of what the mountains look like in there. And it was a little ominous, as Dan said earlier. A little ominous, a little intimidating. Just these very prominent, big rocky peaks, but definitely an energy, like Dan said. I'm very excited for it. What are we, 4 weeks out?
Yeah, 4.
4 weeks out
Yep.
from Crazy Mountain 100. Perfect training day out here. Long run done for the day. We had 9.8 miles, 3,600 feet of gain and loss, about 2 hours, 40 minutes. We're gonna go longer, but we didn't wanna make Dan suffer too much. So we called it there.
I'm fragile, so be careful with me.
He did just pace our good friend Sam at Bighorn for like 18 miles 2 days ago. So this dude's a machine. Both these guys. All right, but that is the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you got something out of this. How to run faster for longer. Remember, your speed workouts, your long runs, your easy runs, mixing some strides and hill sprints once in a while. But if you guys are training for an ultra, marathon, whatever it is, hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. See you later.